Hello students, welcome back to your computer science class. We are doing chapter 11, list manipulation. And after last class, we finished understanding how lists are mutable and we can change them, and also how to access each and every individual element of a list. Today we continue comparing lists. Now for comparing operators, greater than, less than, equal to, etc., the corresponding elements of two lists must be of comparable types. Otherwise, Python will give us an error. So, both the list must have that type of data which can be compared. Okay. Python gives the result of non-equality comparisons as soon as it gets result in terms of true or false from corresponding element comparisons. It jumps to the next element when the first element of both lists is same, and so on. So you can compare two lists using standard comparison operators of Python. Python internally compares individual elements of the list in lexicographical order. This means that to compare equal, each corresponding element must compare equal, and two sequences must be of same type. That is, they must have comparable types of values. So for the comparison operators, the corresponding elements of both the list must be of comparable types. Otherwise, Python will give an error. Python raises error when the corresponding elements of list do not match or they are not of the comparable type. It gives the final result of non-equality of comparison as soon as it gets a result in terms of true or false from the corresponding elements. If corresponding elements are equal, it goes on to the next element and so on until it finds elements that differ. Subsequent elements are not considered. Okay. The most common operation that you can perform with list includes joining lists, replicating list, and slicing list. So we learn about joining list first. Joining two lists is very easy. It's just like you perform an addition. The concatenation operator is used with two lists and the two lists join. So if you have, like you can see on the screen, there are two lists L1 and L2. L1 is 1, 2 and L2 is 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then L1 plus L2 gives us a list which is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. L1 plus 2 will give me an error because you cannot add things to a list like that. Okay, as you can see that the final list has elements of the first list as well as elements of the second list. You can also join two or more lists to form a new list. The plus operator, when used with lists, requires both the operands must be of list type. You cannot add a number or any other value to a list. So L1 plus 2 gives us an error. Okay. So you now know that you cannot add a number or a string using the plus operator with a list, because both the operands need to be of list type if you want to join two lists. Okay. So now if you write plus equals to, then it will add that matter to the list. Let's look at this example. Okay. So let's say I have list 1 which equals to, and then I have list 2 which equals to. All right. Now I can generate a third list which is list 1 plus list 2, and it will work because this is also of list type, and these both are of list type, so you can use. But if I do something like this, it will give me an error. It will give me an error. At the same time, if I change this to quotes, let's see now, it still gave me an error. Okay, let's change this more. I did not get any error. Let's see the list 3 now. You can see ABC has been added. So when you add a list with an integer, it gives you an error. But if you add the list with a string, it doesn't give us an error. As you know, for any operator to work, there are rules for its operands. Example, plus cannot add operands of list and integer type. And as mentioned in chapter 8, that is, plus equal to is different from plus. For mutable iterable items such as list, there are different rules. When plus equal to is used with list, then it requires the operands on the right hand side to be an iterable, and it will add each element of the iterable list to the list. Now, if you check the contents of list 1 after making those changes, after, if you check the contents of list 3, you can see that A, B, and C have been added as individual characters in the list. So, plus equal to statement has added each element from the string to the list. So, if I want to add some number to this list, if I want to add a number, let's say I want to add 70. This will give me an error. It's going to give me an error in this line. But instead, if I do this, using it as an element of the list, see 70 has been added at the end of the list. Okay, because 2 is a list. Over here the number 70 in box bracket became a list and it became an iterable object, and so we can add. You can use plus equal to add elements to the list. Okay. Now talking about replicating. Like strings, you can use the multiplication operator to replicate a list specified number of times. Let's practice this. Let's see. Okay, seems to be longer. So 4 times. So like strings, you can only use an integer with a multiplication operator when you are trying to replicate a list, so that you can only mention how many number of times the list has to be repeated. Now, talking about slicing. List slicing is just like string slicing. There's no difference. Like string slicing are subparts of a list extracted out. You can use index values of list items to create list sizes as just like we used to do in the string. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, to understand, I'm going to print the list about this. So this was my list. Okay, and I told them to start at number 3 and to stop at -3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So start at 40 and -1, -2, -3. So stop at B. So B will not be included. So up till 8, this should be printed. Correct. Okay. We can also in this manner transfer the answer to another list. So let's say I can have list 4 equals to, and then I print list 4. So this is my list 4. Okay, so this can be used in multiple manners. For example, let's say I have list 1, which has, let's just say, okay. And then I make a list 2, which is starting from 1, okay, and it is skipping 2. Let's just say, or let it start from 0, let it go till the length, so it'll be 9, and let it skip 2. Okay, and then I'm going to print both the lists. So I'm going to print list 1 at the same time. The next line, I'm going to print list 2. I forgot to mention the list from where the slicing has to take place. Okay. So like you can see in my list 1, so I'm going to make this order. And I can make an even one over here. Okay. Which takes from list 1 itself, starts at 1, stops at 9, and again skips 2. And then I'm going to even print even. Okay. So what I do is I wrote down the numbers 1 to 10, and like you can see over here in the last one, I'm just going to change this to 10 and see if they include 10. Yeah. Okay. So basically, I had one list that I have split into two lists, odd and even. And I'm using slicing method, which is start, stop, and step. We have done this in range also, so now you should be clear with this option. Okay. We can do it in another way also. I can say I'm making one more, which is third, which says from L1, no start, no stop, but pick every third element. Okay, let's run this and check. So third element was 4, then came, starting with 1, then leave to 4, leave to 7, leave to 10, 1, 4, 7, 10. So this is how you can use list slices to make new list as well as to print something. Okay. So list also supports slide steps. And if you want to extract not every consecutive, but some other step, you can use this type of step option. Okay. So now you will practice chap on your page in your textbooks, example number 11.2, where you're going to extract two list slices out of a given list of numbers. You're going to display and print the sum of the elements of the first list slice, which contains every other element of the list between the index numbers 5 to 15. If the program should also display the average of elements in the second list slice list that contains every fourth element of the list, and the given list contains number from 1 to 20. This is given in your textbook. Please practice it. Okay, and read up till page number 381, 11.4 before making a true copy of the list. With this, children, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.